Hello and welcome to Media 7. The media loves a star, and a falling star even better. This week we focus on the cult of celebrity and how it drives the news. And don't doubt that it does. Internet giant Yahoo has just announced its most popular web searches for 2008. And for the 7th time in 8 years, #1 is Britney Spears. As we can see in this week's News Mash, it's not as new a phenomenon as you might think. Even before TV or radio, there were celebrities. As far afield as San Francisco, Oscar Wilde was hailed as the new Messiah. And in what became a template for celebrity scandals ever since, Wilde's fame came back to bite him as the British Crown dragged him through 3 trials and newspaper coverage hit the point of hysteria. Today, of course, celebrity schadenfreude is a whole industry of its own. A quick search of the 3 News website found 415 stories about Paris Hilton. Why? Because we're gagging for it, that's why. A random look at the most viewed stories table on the Stuff website finds 5 of the top 10 news stories are about foreign celebrities. Sometimes journalists take a stand. CNN's Jack Cafferty complained on camera about having to read a brief about one star's troubles.
I wonder if we could get the Lindsay Lohan DUI arrest out of the teleprompter and put my script in it. Is that possible?
And MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski famously refused to lead a news bulletin with Paris Hilton's release from jail.
No, I hate this story, and I don't think it should be our lead.
She tried to set light to her script on camera.
Okay. I'm done with the Paris Hilton story.
And she eventually got it into the shredder. Yes, they totally milked it.
This is my Paris Hilton lead story.
Here it goes. What a statement.
But it's no use. The idea of celebrity infuses all the news these days. It shaped this assault case in a whole lot of crazy ways.
Some of what's been said by the media is untrue, but again, no excuses.
Then there's politics. How many MPs would Rodney Hyde have in Parliament if he hadn't done this steamy little number? Celebrity, face it, we're soaking in it, so perhaps we should end as we began, with Oscar.
There is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about.
Or, as Paris Hilton put it for a new age,
when people you don't even know hate you, that's when you know you're the best.
Joining us this week are 3 media women who have all, in one way or another, been in a position to put a price on celebrity. Magazine and TV veteran Wendell Nissen, whose book Bitch and Famous is an account of celebrity both instant and enduring. Fleur Revell-Devlin, an award-winning journalist who now runs her own company, Impact PR, which handles, among other things, New Zealand Fashion Week, and talent manager Karen Kay, who's been minding celebrities in New Zealand since the early 80s. Welcome to you all, ladies. Now, Wendell, could we start with you? The public has wanted celebrities for a very long time. It's not a modern phenomenon. What is it? What is it about human nature?
If you feel guilty about reading gossip mags or being interested in Britney or any of the others, it's actually a thing that we have. We're hardwired to worry about people that we know really well, and because of the media, we see them all the time. We see them daily if we're going on the internet, sometimes 3 or 4 times, and we're hardwired to actually care. And so it's not actually our fault, it's just what we do. We worry about people and we're interested in the people that we know very well, and the media makes them part of our close circle of friends.
So from the media's perspective, does that mean if there aren't any celebrities handy, they have to be created?
Oh,
does that happen?
Absolutely. Oh, I used to create celebrities all the time.
How do you do that? How do you create a celebrity? What's the secret?
Oh no, it's a very easy formula. You sort of do a deal with the TV network, and I go, who do you want to promote? And they go, this person on Shortland Street, and you just pepper little stories through, and it takes about 6 months. And if you handle it right, they can be a good selling cover. It's actually a really easy system to do.
Right. Now, Fleur, you need celebrities as part of your job with Fashion Week, I presume. I mean, without some glam, it would just be a trade show, wouldn't it?
What we have to keep in mind is that New Zealand journalists are always wanting us to localise the story. You've got to give us a local angle, you've got to give us a local angle. And what they want to see is celebrities in the front rows. For a lot of the designers, they don't need celebrities in the front rows, but then you've got people like Yvonne Bonetti.
They need buyers in the front rows.
Yeah, they need buyers. Yeah. But people like Yvonne Bonetti, who don't export, I mean, these people wear her clothes to events, get photographed in the social pages, so those people are very important to her. So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, you know. You do need them, but then Fashion Week, you know, is in danger of being overshadowed by those people. Because that's all the, you know...
There's a sense in which the celebrities there really is a Trojan horse for the product quite often. I mean, you'd know that. You're a journalist as well, an award-winning journalist. Were there ever stories that you just thought were too silly? That you wouldn't do? You wouldn't interview the celebrity?
There was a story a while back, actually. I was at the Sunday Star Times at the time. It was about 7 or 8 years ago, and it was Martin Crowe's hair plugs. And it was before he actually endorsed the products. So I was a crime and justice reporter at the time and was given the task of ringing Martin because I'd done TV work.
As the crime and justice reporter?
Yeah, no, but obviously you might know him, Fleur, so can you make the call? And I did, and it was embarrassing for both of us, and he didn't want to talk about it. And there was a start in the newsroom because I argued that it wasn't a news story and I didn't think that we should pursue it. That story ended up in another publication a few weeks later, another newspaper, and obviously I was hauled over the coals for that. I mean, to be fair, my chief reporter at the time was really insightful. I mean, look, you know, 7 or 8 years down the track, that's exactly the kind of stories that we're doing. So, you know...
But they didn't take that story because they wanted the story about hair plugs, did they? They took that story because they wanted a Martin Crowe.
They wanted Martin Crowe.
This is how it works.
This is how it works.
Yeah. Now, Karen, you represent quite an array of professional film and theatre actors. Do they see themselves as primarily professionals in that respect rather than celebrities?
I think when you have a public profile, which happens obviously through the media and through magazines and newspapers, they understand that that's all part of the job. So yes, I mean, they're professionals, but they have to do stories with the media as well.
But you get to mop up, don't you?
I have to mop up all the
She's the one that they call.
I'm the mopper-upper.
And they go...
you've got Shane Cortez on your books, who was recently on the cover of one of the women's magazines. Right. Whoopsie, he's got a 15-year-old daughter he didn't know about.
That's right.
Were you involved with managing that story?
Yeah, I was, right through from the paternity test, actually. But we had to manage it because otherwise the paparazzi, the tabloid journalism would have got a hold, and there would have been a sensationalistic headline over the papers that wouldn't have been true, because actually for him it was a very happy, it is a very happy time, and he was very happy to find her after all these years, but it could have been turned around to not be how he wanted, so we did have to manage it.
A lot of celebrities don't realise, and obviously Karen's a very good agent, because you know, if you're stuck in a corner, you don't hide, you just come out and you do the good news story and stop the bad news. And you know, there are a few people that didn't do that this year, Tony Veitch, who possibly could have managed that a lot better. And it's funny, it's amazing how many people don't get that.
From a PR point of view, that's exactly what they should do. They should tell the truth, tell it fast, and move on as quickly as they can.
But sometimes actually they can tell the truth, and it's not actually because, you know, as you said, Russell, with the falling star, those stories are very attractive to media because that is what the public seem to be interested in. So
it was certainly with Tony Veitch, whatever else that story was about, it was inextricably linked to his own celebrity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it was too much, actually. I think it was too much. I don't condone what happened, but it was just too much, and but he didn't.
You know, it was badly managed right from the start, and there were people like me sitting there going, "Please, just shut up." You know, shut up. What happened to him was absolutely awful from a media perspective, and no one in the media, I think, can hold their head high and say, "Hey, we treated him well." But it was so distressing to watch it go.
But you're saying he didn't get good advice because there was that period of stories that did not need to appear in the Sunday papers week after week.
No, the advice was awful. Yeah, it was bad.
Even
bad
weekend before last, you know, talking about how long the judicial process takes. I mean, that is not going to endear him to the public in any way.
These are people about whom there have been real stories. There are also New Zealand celebrities who appear on the cover of the women's magazines when there is absolutely no story. Sally Ridge last week, My Family Heartbreak. They went on a holiday to India and saw some poor people. That was the story. I mean, how does this work? Are these people on contracts where they have to do X number of covers a year? Is that how this works?
God, it's been years since I put a cover together. But basically, it's called sales. Sally obviously sells very well, so you're going to be wanting to get as many stories out of her as you can. It was a very gorgeous looking cover, and believe it or not, a lot of women buy covers because they look pretty.
It was a gorgeous cover.
It was a catchy headline. Believe it or not, some women buy the cover, get it home, and then realise it's not actually about a heartbreak, which we don't care about because they've actually bought the magazine. So it's quite ruthless in that respect. But I mean, you can draw the lines. I mean, the number of times that Angela Giordi was famous for it, every time she got a haircut, she'd ring up and say, you know, let's do a story. New kitchens, you know, family holidays, and you had to be quite tough and say, bring me a story and we'll talk.
It can get a bit ridiculous.
Oh, well, you could talk. The number of fights I've had with this woman on the phone, like, oh, it's a great story. It's a crap story. It's a great story. Give me thousands of dollars. Shut up.
But you do buy it eventually.
So
she's one of the best. You and Andy Hayden.
So when you're calling her in your former life, is that because your client wants to be on the cover of the magazine, or because you think it's a good idea?
Well, you know, a joint decision that might be a good idea.
No,
you know,
they've got cash to pay.
They want cash. They want cold hard cash, and also they say, and I'll donate some of it to a charity. I don't think any of my celebrities that I ever paid donated a cent to charity. And at the bottom it goes, proceeds from the story will be donated. Well, I don't know if they donated.
I can honestly say,
do they?
Any of my clients have said that it goes to charity.
Right. Well, we'll actually have to take a break now on that uncharitable note. When we return, Simon Pound asks whether, when it comes to a touch of fame, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.